want to be a sovereign citizen and pay no taxes? Do you want to go under the peaceful jurisdiction, the actual constitutional laws that have been taken from people? A lot of people think sovereign citizen is the answer. There's also the land and soil jurisdiction, a peaceful bunch that live here in America but have their own set of laws. Sound too good to be true? Of course it does, but we're going to break this down. We're going to talk about sovereign citizen. We're going to talk about the land and soil jurisdiction. We're going to talk about changing your status from a corporate entity, because when you were issued a birth certificate, you were made a corporate entity and property of the state. Every birth certificate is registered as a bond for how much tax money the government can collect on you from your birth certificate to your death certificate. You are seen as a product. It is modern day slavery. They've really figured this stuff out. Now, when slavery ended in the mid-1800s, it didn't actually end. It pivoted, and instead of looking at the melanin in your skin, they decided, you know what? We're going to look at the overarching workforce, and we're going to give these people some peanuts. Now, this is a very interesting situation with the sovereign citizens and with the land and soil, and with correcting your status overall. Give me my notebook real quick. I got a couple of notes. So I got some notes in here I'm going to break down for you. But we've got some awesome stuff today in Operation Property of the State. All right, so this is a question I get pretty much more than anything. People saying, Cody, can I just be a sovereign citizen and take care of some of this stuff? No, you've seen these cults come out. You've seen this guy go to prison, Wesley Snipes. Obviously, seen a lot of other people go to prison over this. You have to pay taxes. You're going to say, Cody, taxes are not constitutional. You think I don't know that? I got it framed right here. Look at this. Look at this. We the people, right? We the people. Okay, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. The government has been trying to sidestep the Constitution for a long time. So a lot of people have been trying to do, well, taxes technically are illegal. Agree, 100%. As somebody who pays more taxes than most of you, I totally agree. I wish I could keep all of my money. However, well, legally you don't have to pay taxes. You legally have to file a tax return, and it is illegal to file a false tax return. Sovereign citizens try to get around this. Now, you're going to want to buckle up and get into this, because I get asked this all the time, and I'm going to break down the good, the bad, the ugly, the myths, the inconsistent. This is unbelievable misinformation about this stuff. And also, I'm going to give you some steps you can actually take to do this properly. Now, a lot of you guys know that I work with my clients over at Privacy X Project to build entities where you can disappear, become a ghost in a ghost business, and it's a system that actually works. It is through a business structure. Spoiler, the only system that works is the one we build over at Privacy X Project, which is a business entity structure. Now, we're not the only ones who build it. We didn't develop it. We actually do what all the other billionaires, millionaires, celebrities, politicians do, and we help you build that structure. The sovereign citizen myth is just that. Now, the land and soil jurisdiction is very interesting, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, but let's just get rid of the sovereign citizen, okay? That is not a thing. What a lot of people do is they come out and say, well, I'm actually a sovereign citizen, and I'm a peaceful citizen living in this jurisdiction. Do you think if it was that easy for people just to claim sovereign citizen and I go by a different set of laws, the government would be like, oh, gee, golly, willikers, what do we do? There are no cops that will ever allow sovereign citizen to be. The cop usually will be nice. They'll be peaceful most of the time. They'll listen, and you'll say, you're breaking the law. You can't arrest me. And the cop will say, I don't care. Like, let's go. Like, it doesn't work. Sovereign citizen is not an actual thing. Okay, it's a myth, and it's a scam, and it's a cult, and they usually follow up with dues. You want to know what a cult is? Look at the Church of Scientology. That's a cult. Tom Cruise out there wearing a dinner plate looking award, right? It's a joke. Now, sovereign citizen is the same thing. You're seeing books come out. You're seeing courses come out. You're seeing training come out. It's all a scam. And if you try to tell a cop or a judge this, when they're done laughing at you, they're going to put you in jail. In fact, they might make an example out of you. You cannot just claim. As a Native American, I know, okay, the government is going to do what they're going to do. So you've got to work within the rules. Now, the cool thing is the United States government is broken up into federal and states, and you can play the system. It's what I do. It's what my clients do. And it's what all the successful people do is they play the system. There's the rules of the road out there, and you utilize those rules to your advantage. How I structure my companies, it's how I'm able to utilize my assets on a global scale, whether it's my money, whether it's my crypto, et cetera, et cetera. However, One thing you need to understand is sovereign citizen is a bunch of BS. It's not an actual thing, and you do not want to go fall for that trap. Now, be my guest if you want to, but you're going to land yourself in jail like Wesley Snipes and thousands of other people who've tried this over the years. The police don't care. The judges don't care. And you may argue and say they should. It does not matter, and it is unenforceable. Now, what a lot of people have been doing is correcting their status through the land and soil jurisdiction. This is pretty interesting, and this is an interesting thing because of the birth certificate scam that has been happening in this country for about 160, 170 years now. And what people are able to do is correct their status through the land and soil jurisdiction in your actual state. Now, it varies state by state. This is very popular in Florida and other states like that. The problem is, it is becoming a cult. Can you legally correct your status? Yes and no. Is the federal government going to recognize this? No. A lot of people who correct their status say they don't have to pay taxes, and this really caught wind in 2020. This just blew up in 2020. Well, in 2022, a lot of these people are going to be going to jail because they stopped filing taxes because they said, if you correct your status, you no longer had to pay taxes, which is false. They will still put you in jail, even if you think that you don't have to pay taxes. Now, again, am I siding with the federal government? I can't stand the federal government. I think they're all crooks and criminals, which is why I built Privacy X as a way for people to actually fight back, because you're not able to do that through the modern system. But it doesn't matter. You've got to do it in a structure that you could be aligned with the laws and rules. That's why when I talk about these business structures, it allows you to align with what is actually legal and what's happening. When you look at these other jurisdictions, all they are is private citizens who created these websites. Notice when you change your status and you do a thumbprint and you sign your name and you file your documents, you're not filing it with the government. You've got a... Okay, let me rephrase that. You can file it with your local county, but it doesn't do anything. And the database they put you in is a .org website. Why is it a .org website, not a .gov website? Because it's not actually official. Okay, they also say that it comes with concealed carry for life. However, in the fine print, they say if and or when you get arrested and go to jail, they are not liable, because you do not get concealed carry for life. You have to have a concealed carry permit, and you have to, let me repeat, you have to follow the federal laws. This garbage does not outweigh the federal laws. I wish it did. I would do it tomorrow, but it doesn't. I get clients coming to me every day. Cody, should I set up the structure and correct my status? If you want to, is always my answer. Do whatever you want to do. But talk to a lawyer, because they're going to tell you to pay your taxes. They're going to tell you do not have a lifetime concealed carry. They're going to tell you now the one thing that the place says, you lose your right to vote. What would he do? They say how you get credits and free money from the federal government because your birth certificate is a bond. That has been proven false. Nobody has ever been able to prove that they've gotten one single dollar from the federal government, because they don't. Now, I've talked to multiple people in multiple state jurisdictions, and they'll tell you absolutely you can file to correct your status. And what do you benefit? You don't benefit at all. At all. And if you try to take these liberties, you're putting yourself at risk of getting hit with federal charges. And you can go to the judge and say, no, judge, I corrected my status. Do you really think that the federal government's going to allow you to opt out of the system? And the funny thing is, when you ask these people, hey, so what you're doing is you're buying a piece of land, which they also say you don't have to pay property tax, which is hilarious. I dare you to try not paying property tax. Within 3 years, you'll be homeless because they'll seize your property. You already know this. And you could be, it's not okay. They don't. As a Native American my ancestors, you don't think the federal government seizes? Are you kidding me right now? The federal government has seized all of the property. You think they're going to allow you to be a peaceful? Get out of here. So the next thing that you need to understand, as through this system, the courts are not going to recognize it. The police, and you can say, well, the police aren't trained. That's great. You'll go to jail, and then the courts will square it up for you, right? No, they will not. If your goal is your goal to buy a piece of land and never leave that piece of land the rest of your life, never utilize roads, never utilize bridges, never utilize fire departments, never utilize police services, never utilize medical services, never utilize hospitals. And these people look at you and they turn white as Casper the Ghost. So let me get this straight. You think that you're going to be able to opt out of the system, but still use the system. Now, I'll get to the fact that even the property is not technically yours in a second. But is your goal to buy a piece of property and never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, leave that property or have anything delivered to you? You're just going to live off that land. You're never going to use Amazon or UPS. You're never going to have anything delivered to you. Nothing, right? Nothing. You're never going to use the infrastructure of the internet. Nothing, right? No. So that's what you pay taxes for. Now, do I agree with taxes? Well, not technically. I think that the income taxation is becoming a giant ripoff. Obviously, like sales tax and things like that to help fund things. If we're going to have a society, it's got to be funded somehow. So there's got to be some tax. Now, are we way overtaxed? Yeah. And again, as somebody who is in a very high tax bracket, I think this is ridiculous. However, it is something we're stuck dealing with. Now, what do we do in this scenario? Well, we do not try to pretend we're sovereign citizens, and we do not try to pretend that we can correct our status, but we can still live off the system but not pay the system's taxes, because you will land yourself in a federal prison. So if you're a subscriber to my channel, I'm hoping that you're not that stupid, because I teach you exactly how to do it the right way. And you can go to Privacy X Project and we'll teach you how to do it the right way, as opposed to this sovereign citizen stuff or this corrected status stuff that does not work. It sounds incredible. And believe me, the men and women who write these books and the men and women who do these training courses sound incredible. And it sounds like you have all these rights and these things that have been taken away from you. And you know what? They're right. They're absolutely right. But the only way to get those rights back, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? The only way to get those rights back is a civil war or a revolution. The government is not going to willingly give them back to you. And every case that these have been tried in have failed time and time and time again. And it has ended in the person going to jail, because the government is going to make an example out of you, because they don't want a bunch of people rising up thinking they can change their status and all of a sudden opt out of taxes, because they're going to have to put all those people in jail. And that's unfortunate. So what I'm trying to tell you is this is not something that you want to do. I get asked this question constantly, so I had to make this video. It wasn't even that I wanted to make this video. I didn't think people were this stupid to think that you can actually opt out of the system. I wish you could. If you could, I would be first in line. I would pay just about any sum of money to do it. I would come up with, if it was $100 million, I would find a way to come up with the money. If it was $1 million, I would pay it tomorrow, okay? I would do whatever I could do to do that, and so would you probably. However, it's not an option. So what do you do? Well, unfortunately, you got to play by the rules that they've laid out for you. You've got to play by this corporate structure, because you're correct. The one thing when they're correct is the United States is a corporation. And that's why all of our laws favor corporations. We were founded on free enterprise. Now, a lot of the best laws that impact the people positively have been suppressed and changed over the last 100 years. Our founding fathers would be disgusted with the politicians that we currently have, as I am, as you probably are. But the only way to beat them and the only way for you to win is on the corporate level. I hate to say it, but you've got to fight fire with fire. If any of this actually worked, I would be the first person to be doing it. I would be screaming it from the rooftops, but it doesn't actually work. I've talked to 9 lawyers about it who specialize in immigration, who specialize in naturalization, who specialize in citizenship, who specialize in corporations, who specialize in all of these things. I've got attorneys that work with Privacy X all the time, because we work with our clients and help them build these ghost businesses and ghost lives and teach people how to become an actual ghost and teach people how to pay little to no taxes legally. And not for tax avoidance ever, but legally. And we teach people how to go off the grid, and we teach people how to be undetectable, and we teach people how to get off the radar, and we teach people how to live completely off the grid anonymously. We teach people how to become these entities. It's what I do, and it's what a lot of our clients do, and it's probably what some of you do anonymously watching this video on this channel. So I wanted to make this video and talk about that. The sovereign citizen is a bunch of crap. It sounds incredible. It sounds awesome. Don't fall for it. It is a scam. It is a cult. And the land and jurisdiction thing, it is true. You can correct your status. Just don't take these liberties. If you want to correct your status, be my guest. Would I recommend it? No, I wouldn't, because you're putting yourself in more databases, in more private databases for no reason, with signatures and photos and witness statements and all these things you got to do to correct these forms and correct this status. And what you get from it is absolutely, positively nothing. Nothing. In fact, in some regards, you make it worse, because a lot of people say you no longer qualify for the federal election, only the local state elections, because you're giving yourself over to the state. So instead of federal property or state property, the good thing with federal laws is you have 50 states and some territories to choose from. You could be mobile and nomadic. Now, once you correct your status, can you move states? You can, but there's a process involved, and it's a lot different. Also, the police force and the things you deal with legally are much more severe. You're kind of putting yourself in a gray area, and not in a good way. So instead of utilizing corporate laws, which this country, which is actually a company, I agree, was founded on, you're utilizing some goofy laws that if they change them locally, you're screwed. It is not a good opportunity for you to be able to take these rights and freedoms back. Now, do I think more people need to get into government and help change these laws? I wish that would happen. Do I think more people need to, stand up and use their voice? Absolutely. Do I think we need to protest some of these things? I've been talking about this for a while. Peacefully protest some of these things and demand and come together as one unit. Otherwise, it's going to lead to civil war. Otherwise, it's going to lead to civil unrest. Otherwise, it's going to lead to an actual revolution, which is where we're headed with all this mandate BS, which is why Biden's got his tail between his legs and running for the hills. It's why he's backtracked on everything, because he's pushing the people too far. And now they're pushing back, and now he's scared, and now he's running. Well, it's the same thing with this stuff. If we push back properly, we could go back to when this meant something to the people in office. However, if we don't do that soon, we have a president right now who literally said, and I quote word for word, the Constitution is not absolute. He thinks he can go change whatever he wants, whenever he wants, which he can't, and he's been proven wrong in court time and time again. He's been made to look like a fool time and time again. However, he keeps trying, which is the scary part. So instead of dinking around with stuff that you know doesn't work, instead of dinking around with stuff that you know is going to put you in jail, you should create a corporate structure, a corporate entity for asset protection and for ghosting and for sheltering assets and for lowering taxes. And then all those things happen with the corporate structure that I teach my clients how to build on Privacy X Project. None of these things happen with sovereign citizens, and most of them end up in jail. And again, you don't go to jail for becoming a sovereign citizen. Make no mistake. You could say you're a sovereign citizen. You have freedom of speech. That's thing one. Okay, you have freedom of speech. You could say sovereign citizen. You just declare you're a sovereign citizen. You're set. It doesn't mean anything to anybody, but you can just declare it all you want. But if you don't pay taxes, you will be going to jail eventually. The same thing with the land and soil. You can file all the paperwork, but it doesn't mean anything to the people who are going to be judging you in the court of law. And then when they put you in jail, you have no recourse. You could sit here and say, oh, I don't go by your laws. And they'll say, yeah, you do, period. There's nobody who can do anything for you. There's no lawyers who can do anything for you. You've screwed yourself at that point. So you are correct. This country was founded as a corporation. You are correct. This country operates as a corporation. So the only way to fight back is to utilize the laws of the land in your favor. And there's a lot of laws that can be used in your favor, but the average person doesn't understand them. It would take you a decade to sort through and figure them all out. That's why people come to us at Privacy X, because we've already done all the legwork for you. We can help you put all this together very quick, and then you're set. You don't have to worry about all the stuff that's happening. You don't have to worry about all the regulation. You don't have to worry about all the stuff that's coming down on you on a regular basis. Anyway, appreciate you guys checking out this video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. Really appreciate you guys checking it out. I'll put down new information all the time here on Privacy X. Go check out Privacy X Project right now. And make sure you guys have an amazing day. Go all in everything you do. Stay informed and stay active. I'll see you guys in the next video.